Hi, I'm Karen Litfin from the University of Washington, and I teach political science and environmental studies. And I realized after a few years into my early career that I was making my students angry, frustrated, guilt-ridden, and despairing. And so I began teaching to what I call the inner curriculum, which is basically we never study anything as if it's only happening out there in world politics. Once we learn about it, it's happening in here, and that's the inner curriculum. So I started bringing contemplative practices into the classroom. I also teach service learning, and I feel that our emotions are actually meant to move us into action. So that's a very important aspect of my teaching. But until recently, those two dimensions weren't well integrated. So in the last few years, what I've been doing is actually trying to integrate contemplative action, contemplative practice and action. So that's what I want to talk a little bit about. And the real challenge, I think, is how do we bring our mind, our heart, our emotions, and our body, our actions together in an integrated form. So that, I think, is really the work of becoming conscious of the noosphere and the Anthropocene. And we are the earth becoming conscious of itself. So that means we need to attend to our inner lives. And so let's do that. Yeah. So a few of the kinds of practices I do are the contemplative pause, so simply just noticing what's happening. That's part of the inner curriculum. Tending to the nervous system, and that means actually seeing our bodies and our whole system as a subset of the earth system. And always doing content relevant meditations in all of my classes, and making it so that these are not purely individual experiences, but somehow bringing it into a learning community. So in terms of shifting from service learning to student-generated action projects, which is what I've done in the last few years, I wanted the students to have a sense of agency. So they work in teams of 5, and they come up with their own projects, ideally through doing some of these contemplative practices together. So here's a few of my course blogs. This is last spring, and my planetary politics class and my death course, which is actually my favorite class. So this is all an ongoing experiment, and I would say this last spring was pretty challenging. I realized that the students wouldn't be able to do their normal projects in the community, and so I worked with about 11 national and international NGOs to develop projects for teams of 5 to work online, basically doing online action. And I think it was pretty successful. The jury's still out. I'm digesting my course evaluations. So as I said, it's an ongoing experiment.